Looking for dairy-free alternatives to your favorite foods? Stay tuned to listen to my top 10 dairy-free, mouth-watering recipes, all using whole, real foods. Hey everybody, it's Allison, founder of Prep Dish. I just want to note briefly that Prep Dish is a gluten-free, dairy-free meal planning website. So I've dedicated the past 8+ years of my career really working to give people gluten-free, dairy-free options. And I will say that I try and look for things that are not some weird chemical-filled processed food that's an alternative, but I really focus on using real whole foods. And one tip that I give people that are just starting out going either gluten or dairy-free is to really focus on foods that naturally don't contain those items. There's so many great options out there that are just naturally gluten and dairy-free. That being said, I want to just hop right in with the recipes today. I do have a little cheat sheet beside me here, so I'll be referencing that because I don't have all 10 of them memorized off the top of my head, but hopefully these help. So, and some of them are kind of your favorite dairy-filled foods and some alternatives that I like to use for those. So the first one, I wanted to just jump straight to one that you think of being filled with lots of dairy, and that is mashed potatoes. So as I go through this list of the 10 foods, I'm gonna kind of point out what I use to either swap the dairy with or how I get by with kind of simply omitting it. So for the dairy-free mashed potatoes, there's actually kind of two things here. One is you can just simply omit the dairy, which is the butter and the heavy cream. Now the way I make up for this is making sure it's super flavorful by adding some broth, like some either veggie or chicken broth can add some flavor, and then also playing around with adding some fresh herbs. I've also added a cashew cream that really makes it rich and creamy and can replace sort of like that heavy whipping cream. And for all of these, I am linking in the show notes to the direct recipe or video that I have on these items. So if you're curious, just check out the description for that. Okay, number 2 is chocolate milk. So the alternative to chocolate milk is a homemade almond chocolate milk. So making an almond milk and then making that into a chocolate almond milk, to me, this is a really nice alternative to kind of that classic chocolate milk that I grew up drinking in grade school. I don't know about you, but I had the little cartons of chocolate milk. And so every now and then I get a craving for those. And I found that a chocolate almond milk really does the job. So I have a recipe for that, again, linked below. And the swap there is using the almonds instead of the dairy. The third one is lasagna. So my alternative with lasagna is using a cashew cheese. So it's just rehydrating and pureeing cashews until they're really smooth and creamy. And it has a cheese-like flavor. And I find especially in the lasagna, I don't really miss the dairy because it's kind of mixed in with other things. I've made this for years. I used to work as a personal chef, and this is a recipe that all of my clients, whether or not they were dairy-free, really raved about. And some of them would go back to this like every month. They would want this lasagna. So again, that recipe is linked below, but really nice alternative to lasagna that, again, like I don't think you'll miss the dairy in this one. Okay, and then number 4, so a big one that people always complain about when going dairy-free is what am I gonna do about ice cream? So my favorite alternative is a banana nice cream. The reason I like this is because of the texture. So to me, the texture, so it's basically freezing bananas and then whipping them up either in a food processor or blender. And the reason I like this is it gets that really nice, creamy, whipped texture that you have in a soft serve. And you can add in chocolate chips or walnuts and kind of some mix-ins that really make it indulgent and fun to eat. So the banana nice cream is my alternative there. Of course, the bananas are the dairy alternative or the dairy swap that I have in that recipe. And I also have some coconut milk ice cream recipes. I'll link one of those below as well. Those turned out really great. The thing with the coconut milk ice cream, I do find it works better with an ice cream maker. So that recipe I would make sure you have an ice cream maker for, because it's definitely better that way. But with the banana and ice cream, just a blender food processor is all you need. Okay, number 5. This is another one that people, when you're going dairy-free, it's like, gosh, what am I gonna do for whipped cream? So whipped cream, the alternative is a coconut whipped cream. I have 2 different methods that I use to make it really rich and creamy. It's actually super simple to make. It's only like 2 ingredients, I believe. So again, I'll link my method below, but the swap here is, instead of dairy, using a full fat coconut milk. We do this a lot, especially in the summer. I'll do a coconut whipped cream and use it over berries, or if I do some grilled fruit, like some grilled pineapple with a coconut whipped cream is very delicious. So definitely a go-to recipe at our house because it's so simple and still tastes super rich. Okay, number 6 is a dairy-free ranch dressing. So ranch dressing, again, one of those kind of classic, very creamy dishes that without the dairy, what do you do? So with this one, again, it's a full fat coconut milk that replaces the dairy to make it just as rich and creamy. This is one that I've found especially kids love for not only salads, but also just dipping veggies. So when I make this, I usually make a big batch because I find that we can use it on a lot of different items. So the dairy-free ranch is definitely a go-to. And then number 7. So this is one of my personal favorites. Maybe isn't the most common thing when people go dairy-free that they think they're going to miss, but it's a chocolate pudding. And I don't even know that I was a big fan of chocolate pudding ever, when I was eating more dairy, but this one is actually avocado based. So I would say the dairy swap is avocado. The avocado just makes it so rich and creamy. This is a recipe that I recommend when you make it, serve it before you tell people sort of the secret ingredient that makes it so rich and creamy. But I promise you, once you try this avocado chocolate pudding, you're not gonna go back to the heavy cream alternative. Whether or not, you're dairy-free all the time or not, this one is a real winner. For me, the texture is almost better than a traditional pudding. So if you try it out, definitely let me know in the comments below what you think. Okay, and then number 8 is pesto. And this one is similar to the mashed potatoes in that I don't really have anything that I add in to replace the dairy. So in a traditional pesto recipe, there's usually Parmesan cheese, which would be the dairy source. I found that I have a few different pesto recipes using, one with basil, one with cilantro, and I find I can just simply omit the Parmesan cheese and the pesto still turns out wonderful. So really with the pesto, the key is to just omit the cheese altogether. And there's so many other great flavors going on with the lemon and the fresh herbs and pine nuts, all of that. So I have a cilantro pesto that's really good, that's dairy-free. I'll link that one below. Okay, this next one, you might notice a theme because this has popped up several times on this list. I'm a chocolate lover. So this one is more just general, but if you're going dairy-free, a lot of chocolate does have dairy in it. But rather than have a quote unquote like swap for that, I just recommend reading the labels. There are plenty of dairy-free chocolates out there. So whether you're looking for a chocolate bar or chocolate chips, they're out there. You just need to read the ingredients label and you should be able to find that just fine. And then the number 10 swap, and this one I mentioned only because I do tend to get a lot of questions on it, but that is for kind of in general for smoothies. So if your family is a big fan of smoothies and you usually put milk in those, for the alternative, one, it depends on the flavor of the smoothie. So this one, there's kind of a few alternatives. If it's, I like coconut milk, especially a full fat coconut milk, for giving it kind of a really creamy texture, more of like a milkshake texture, especially if there's more tropical flavors in there, like pineapple or something like that, then I'll use coconut milk. Otherwise, you can use a nut milk, or even for a lot of smoothie recipes, I just use water. If there's enough other flavors going on in there, then I just swap the milk for water. There you have it. Those are my 10 dairy-free alternatives. I do have some YouTube videos specifically on these recipes. So one is the coconut whipped cream. So I have 2 methods that make this like really rich, creamy coconut whipped cream. So that video is linked here. And then I also have a video for those dairy-free mashed potatoes that I mentioned and how to get those really rich and creamy as well. So that video is linked here as well. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to subscribe, like, and share with a friend. I will see you in the next one.